biggest thank you this evening goes to you, our supporters. We're privileged to have with us here today Rabbi Dovid Goldwasser Shlita, who's no stranger to our Kollel. We've benefited from his wisdom on a number of occasions over the past few years, and on a daily basis, we benefit from having his son, Rabbi Goldwasser, as one of our Chashuva Young Light. Rabbi Goldwasser has become internationally renowned figure. He has a special talent to reach and affect the greater community through his warm and sincere personality, as well as through his keen, penetrating Torah insights into the human condition. It is my honor to call upon Rabbi Goldwasser to address us this evening.
Good evening. Bruchim haboim b'shem Hashem. It is a great honor and a kavod to be here this evening. In fact, when Rabbi Chaim Leib Gross called me and asked me if I could come, I was going to ask him about the nature of the evening. And I was going to ask him about the exact purpose. But he's so convincing, and he is so to the point that before I could get my question out, he was thanking me already for accepting this evening's dinner. And thank you to Rabbi Goldman. You know, it's a great honor. I heard Rav Shiner, the Rosh Kollel Shlita. And in hearing his words, such a mashpia, the words that he says goes into a person's heart. They affect the neshama. They're penetrating. It's interesting that Eliyahu Hanavi said, I alone, Nosarti Novi Levadi La Hashem, I remained alone a prophet to Hashem. The Kol Tzofayach asked the question, we know Ovadia hid over 100 Nevi'im. So how could Eliyahu Hanavi say, Novi Levadi, that I alone was a prophet? The Kol Tzofayach said, because it was Eliyahu Hanavi that knew how to get through to the hearts and the minds of the people. It was Eliyahu Hanavi that spoke the lingo. He said the language that they were able to understand in order to raise them and to inspire them. To have a Rosh Kollel that has such an effect and such a hashpah is a great zechus for everybody here, everyone in Toronto and Canada, and it's a great zechus for me to be able on those rare occasions when I come to be able to listen to his Torah and to grow from his hashpah. There are many, many reasons, which I'm sure everybody here, your patrons, you're wonderful. I look up to you. I'm in awe of you. Many reasons to support a kollel, particularly this kollel. But one of the greatest reasons, especially when we come to Chodesh Tammuz, when we'll come to Yod Zayin, the 3 weeks, is the following. Godol hazchus shel machzikei haTorah. Great is the merit, great is the opportunity of those that support Torah learning. Lahagein le'adam, in order to shield over a person. Ulechaper aleim, to give us atonement, kapara. Afal chamuros, the lashon of the Zohar. Also for those averos, for those transgressions that are serious. Kapara shalema, giving money to the kollel, is a complete atonement, velo yisurim klal, without any pain, without any yisurim, without any afflictions. The Torah Kedosha is megin on us. It shields over us. Be'idna desak dasek be, whether we are learning in it, ubein be'idna, or at those times when we're not learning, when we're in business, when we're taking care of the family, when we're off, we're on vacation, The Torah is the singular entity that continues throughout our lives, in this world and in the next, to protect us and to shield us. Oftentimes, an individual, they lose sight. The greatness of Torah, the greatness of having a kollel here in this wonderful shul in the Bayit with its illustrious Mora D'Asra Shlita, sometimes we don't realize it. The great Rebbe Yashuv, Gaon Ador, greatest of the generation, said, Mesukim Midvash. David HaMelech, King David tells us in Tehillim, Mesukim Midvash. It's sweeter than honey. So he asks the question, what does it mean sweeter than honey? Is that just an expression? Is it just something that sounds good? How is it sweeter than honey? He quotes a Ramah, in which, if there's a davar ha'asr, a forbidden substance, musk, some glands from a non-kosher animal, and it falls into honey, since honey has the power to transform any entity that falls into it into honey, one can even eat the davar ha'asr. However, if a davar ha'shalem, a complete entity, falls into the honey, it does not transform it. It remains a davar ha'asr, it is forbidden, and we may not eat it. However, said Rebbe Yashuv, the Torah K'dosha, even an Adam HaShalem, even a complete person, even a complete being that falls into Torah, that learns Torah, that's amal in Torah, that delights in Torah, that individual can completely be transformed into a different individual. If you will ask me, what does this kollel do? I would tell you, it transforms individuals. It changes people. People that go through the system, that learn. And I will tell you, from those that I had the privilege to talk to in the reception beforehand, that learned with my son, Rav Elio, I can only tell you the transformation that they told me about, the level of Torah that they're on now, the level of Shmiras HaMitzvos, how they care about observing, is on a deeper level altogether. The Torah is Megan. The greatest thing that we get, and we get so much, is that the Torah protects us. Now I have to tell you, very often, Choshev Rabbonim, very often, Choshev Balabatim, ladies, we're called on to help out, to pitch in a little bit, to volunteer. And so I was asked just a short while ago that I should volunteer Motzei Shabbos. It happened to be for yeshiva. Nachum Siegel, who's well known, a radio host, asked me if I would go together with him on behalf of the yeshiva. I said, okay, fine. He picks me up in the car. I live in Flatbush. He drives. Now, I've had this chus to be together with Nachum a couple of decades, every morning on the radio to give a Devar Torah. That's going every morning, Monday through Erev Shabbos. He asked me a favor. I want to do it for him, especially a favor for Torah. He needs to drop something off at a house in Flatbush. We travel for about 10 minutes. He stops. He parks in a space where you're really not allowed to remain there. You can just stay for a while. So he asked me, please sit on the driver's side. They shouldn't think that they left the car there. I said, okay, fine. I sat in the driver's side. I had a little safer with me. I opened it up. It's a few minutes past. All of a sudden, the lights are shining in the back. I didn't do anything. For once, I'm innocent. For once. Policeman stands outside of me. Open the window. Good evening. I got Tvach officer. Nice to see you. License and registration, owner's card. insurance. Officer, actually, it's not my car. Not your car. Okay, driver's license. I wasn't driving. Do you have any idea how many things that already you are going to get a ticket for? I could see the midas harachamim in his eyes. I said, I'm sorry, he didn't let me explain. And as they tell you, I study up on this, Rabbi Shiner, when a policeman stops, you're not supposed to say too much. You have to be careful. You have to be very respectful. Insubordination is a crime. So I was quiet. He gave me a ticket for no license, gave me a ticket for no registration, gave me a ticket for no insurance. And then the killer was, by accident, I put my foot on the brake. That's how I got busted. Because the light that the brake is supposed to put on the right side was out. So that's what... Shlichei mitzvah, ein an nezoikin. You go to do a mitzvah, nothing happens. Okay? He gave me 4 tickets. I put them away in my pocket. About a minute later, Nachum comes out of the house, comes over to me. Rabbi, everything okay? Perfect. It's the night. Fine. I go and we did the mitzvah that night, and he leaves me off late. Now I got the 4 tickets. I don't know what to do. Call up. They say, listen, fight them. Fight your tickets. Now, if you know how to fight your tickets, first you delay it. You don't show up in court the next Sunday or Monday. You wait. I had it delayed over a year. Over a year until the actual court case came up. By that time, as you know, we hope that the policeman has moved. Not nice. To a different precinct. Went to a different precinct or was elevated to a higher stature. He won't show up. The judge will dismiss the case. And you go home smiling. I came in there. I had the Tillim. I had a Sefer. I'm learning. Schus will be Megan on me. Be'idna da'asik be. Certainly it's going to be Megan. Sure enough, I'm in there waiting an hour. That policeman was not there. He understood you don't start up with Kavod Torah. Judge calls me up to the front. I go in front of His Honor. Seems to be a fellow, came from South America. The judge is in his robe. And he's just looking at it. All of a sudden, the door behind him opens up. Vayavai. The policeman came, and I want to tell you, Zarishis, he could have come with regular shoes, but he had the same boots on. That was a killer. He walks in, clicks his heel, and stands in front of me. Doesn't look at me, but he stands in front of me. B'sever ponim yafais. The judge says, could you tell me what happened that night? The police, I need a Yekisha policeman. Is everything written out on the paper? Yes, the driver was sitting behind the wheel. To begin with, he was in a no resting area. Besides that, he had failed to produce a license, a registration, and insurance. He also had no excuse whatsoever when I asked him what he's doing there. Shkar. I'm ready. You know, in yeshiva they train us. We learn Talmudic logic. We learn how to argue. We know how to hold our own. And it was now my chance to talk. I start to speak. Immediately he says, that is not the way that I saw it. And then he continues. I wonder what was going on. Fine. Finally he paused and I said, Your Honor, I would like to explain that evening I was not in possession of a license and I started it. The officer cut me off again. He says, the driver is giving all types of excuses. which is worse. If he would have admitted his guilt, then perhaps there's room for some type of discussion here. The judge continued. Finally, he said, all right, looks on his computer. He says, I see no merit to this case whatsoever. I'm going to throw this ticket out. You're completely off the hook. The policeman got so angry, clicked his heel, and stormed out that door. The judge turns to me and gives me a wink and says, I really enjoy the morning program. That is the reason we should support the Kollel. It's interesting. Rava went to his great Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef, the great Rabbi Yosef, and he would learn by him. And when he would leave, he wouldn't just turn, but rather he would walk backwards from his Rebbe. And the entire time, he would walk backwards until he reached the threshold. The Torah tells us that oftentimes, because he would not divert his gaze from his great Rebbe, from his rabbi, he would hurt his foot, he would bruise it, and sometimes his feet would be bloodied. Why? Because he wanted to honor his great Rebbe. However, it's fascinating. Rav Yosef did not have the gift of sight. He was blind. Rav Yagen, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, says, what was the honor? Rav Yosef couldn't even see him. The answer is, it wasn't specifically for the honor of his Rebbe. It was for his own honor. The honor of the Torah. The honor of Hashem. Everybody here this evening, you came for the honor of Hashem. You came for the Kollel's honor. But the greatest is, you came for your own honor. The honor of everybody here to say, I stand strong with the Kollel. The honor of every Eshes Chayil that says, my husband is part of the Kollel. My husband learns in the Kollel. Or the Eshes Chayil that comes and is involved in the Kollel. I remember when Rabbi Leo made a bris, and the women that came and were in the kitchen and made the whole thing. It's tremendous. That's an honor. It's the honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the honor of Hashem. Ve'ein kavod gedolah mizu. And Hashem has no greater honor than anybody could do in this world than to give kavod to the Torah, to give kavod to the crowning achievement of Toronto, the Kollel. There is nothing greater. It shows our bitachon. It shows our trust and our faith in Hashem. It shows that we understand ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu. It is the length of our days. It's our entire life. It's our riason datre. It's the reason why we are here in this world. For Hashem's Torah. For every word. In every syllable. The Vilna Gaon once said, why is it Talmud Torah keneged kulam? Talmud Torah, I could do a lot of mitzvahs, but that Talmud Torah, that moment, that 10 minutes I heard from Rav Shiner in the middle Shabbos morning at Dvar Halacha, which is still ringing from 3 years ago in my ears. That 10 minutes, Kiyem Chayenu, that's Nitzchias. That's a moment in time that will be forever and ever and ever. That's our emunah, and that's our bitachon. Rabbi Chaim Leib gave to me a time limit. I want someday to be invited back. So I will end. I want to be Messiah b'davar tov with a nice conclusion. I had the occasion to be in Manchester, and there is a Yid in Manchester that davens in the back of the Beis Medrash. And that Yid is a very interesting Yid. When it comes time to say the Kaddish, he says the Kaddish with his entire being. You never saw a person to say Kaddish like this. So moving is it to watch him. So entirely enwrapped in what he's doing. The kavanah, the feeling and the intensity is something unbelievable to watch. I want to know who he says Kaddish for. I want to know who is the neshama that has such a Kaddish. Lo Aleinu. I found out after a great deal of research. This man, elderly Yid, happens to be from the Sheres HaPleita, from that precious remnant of Jews that survived the Holocaust. He happened to be in a bunker together with hundreds. He always repeated the words, Yeshuas Hashem keharef ayin. The salvation of God is like the blink of an eye. It can happen a second. We're always blinking. The salvation could happen at any moment. He always repeated, Yeshuas Hashem keharef ayin. Yeshuas Hashem keharef ayin. Soon, some of the other people did not have a liking for this. They didn't see the Yeshuas Hashem there. And they started to give him a nickname. They called him Yeshuas Hashem. They didn't call him his name anymore. Yeshuas Hashem, the salvation of God. And they always called him Yeshuas Hashem. Came to be the Nazis, Yimach Shemam v'Zichrom L'ol Meyad, came to liquidate. They took all of the people that were there together with Yeshuas Hashem outside of the camp to a fenced area, barbed wire. They were to wait there, unfortunately, to meet their death when they would be let out and be Nereg al Kiddush Hashem, to die for the sanctification of God's name. Yeshuas Hashem was in the front of the fence. It was night. Yeshuas Hashem was standing there. All of a sudden, a few people began to say, Yeshuas Hashem, where is it right now? Where's Yeshuas Hashem? Where's the salvation? Yeshuas Hashem, keharef ayin. The Nazi took out a paper. Everyone's name was written. Everyone's number was written of those who were doomed to be exterminated. He was sitting, perched on a high stool, outside of the fence, when his paper fell out of his hands and went right in front of the fence. The Nazi wanted to have one last command, one last insult. He said to Yeshuas Hashem, pointing straight at him, dog, Schwein, pick that paper up. Pick it up for me. I won't bend over. Yeshuas Hashem put his hand through the fence. He was trying to reach it. He was afraid he was going to get shot. Trying. He couldn't reach it. The Nazi electronically opened the fence. Told him to bend down and get it. Yeshuas Hashem bent down. All of a sudden, a malfunction. The fence locked. Yeshuas Hashem is outside. He ran and ran and ran. And as he was running away, all the people inside screamed after him, Al tishkach osanu, Al tishkach otanu. Don't forget us. Don't forget us. Yeshuas Hashem escaped and lived years and years after to be able to pay back Hashem for such a nace. However, he said, every night when he goes to sleep, and every morning when he wakes up, he hears the hundreds screaming after him, Al tishkach otanu. So for his whole life, he says Kaddish every morning and every night. It's a Yid that lives with bitachon, lives with trust in Hashem. Everybody, when you're part of the Kollel, it is the greatest survival of Bnei Yisrael. It's the Torah that Hashem gave us that causes us and our entire people in Eretz Yisrael, in Jews all over the world, to be able to continue and to go on until Mashiach is coming. It is that Torah that the Kollel every day, each and every day, not only learns themselves, but the Kedusha, the holiness in the Torah, goes out into the community. It goes out into the world. I believe the reason why we are zocheh to such greatness after a Holocaust is for the reason that the Kollel exists every single day. Everyone that came, you should be benched with bracha v'atzlocha, blessing and success in everything that you do, ruchnius and gashmius, spiritually and materially. Should be a lot of dinners on behalf of the Kollel. The money should come flowing in, because it's the Kollel that every penny that comes in gives you thousands upon thousands of times reward on each penny. Everyone, thank you. Tiska l'mitzvos, natzloch and bracha.